so now that you could see that the functionality is pretty much laid out for a single user inside our app, which means that the user has the option to go here and create a post and everything. They can see their own post here. They can update their profile picture from here and everything. So what I was thinking is that it's time that we should work on creating other users as well, in the sense that we need to work on the explore page. For that we would need to work on few different things, and we need to modify to a few functions as well that we have already written. So let's just go about working on that. So the very first step would be to actually create a published property, so a published var, and we can call this explore page users. And what this would be is that it would be a type of database user, and it would be an empty array. And inside database user we actually need to make it conform to hashable type, because if we just go into the definition of hashable, it states that it's a type that can be hashed into hasher to produce an integer hash value. So you can use any type that conforms to hashable in a set or a dictionary key. So actually we need to loop over the users and show their post and everything. For that purpose, hashing would be required for the for loop and everything. So that is why we are making our database user hashable. So this is there, and now let's just go inside our view model again, and we need to write a new function here. Basically this function would fetch all of the users, all of the database users. So you can write it here. You can write fetch all the users. So it would be a simple get request. So let's just go about writing it. Fetch database users, and then we can add async, and we can open this up. We can open a do catch block here, and inside the do, first we would reference the firestore database. So db is equal to firestore.firestore. Then what we would do is that we would get some query items or something, let's call them, and basically we would use try await db.collection. This would be users, and we would have get documents from here. Now what we can do is let fetched users equals try query items dot documents dot map. And similarly, as we define our post, basically we are using the map functionality in a similar way. We can open the closure here. We get the user in database user in, and we can make the u capital. What we can do is that we can write try database user dot data as database user dot self. Let's just not name it database user. We can call it database user data dot data as database user dot self. So this is what we have done here, and now what we can do is we can open the dispatch queue. So it would be a dispatch queue dot main dot async. Open this up. Basically here we would write self dot explore page users, and we can populate the explore page users using the fetched users that we have above. So this is what I'm doing here. In the catch statement we can just simply catch the error. So we can say error fetching the database users, and we can have error dot localize description. So this is what we are doing here. So yeah, this function is complete. You could use it inside our explore page, but for now we need to do two more things. So let's just search using command F, fetch user posts. So yeah, fetch user post is here, and now this fetch user post will no longer use the user ID from here. Instead it will take in the user ID as a parameter, because we would need to use it for other users as well. That is why we have to do that. So this is there. Now we need to go to fetch user data as well. So fetch user data, and fetch user data in a similar manner will use user ID, which will be of the type string. We can remove this from here. So yeah, this is there. So these were the two functionality changes that we needed to do. And it takes, okay, it ask what is the user ID. This is that. If we run the app, it should definitely throw us some error. So let's just wait for that. And what import we were using. Okay, so user profile view gives an error, and we can go inside here, do Firebase auth. So what we can do here now is that we can write guard let user ID equals auth dot auth dot current user dot uid, something like that. And else we can return, so this is there, and we can open it like this, and hopefully it should work. It says it's optional fix, so this is there. Yep, this all works fine. Let's just run the app once and check if the functionality we just laid out it's working or not. And okay, so the moment of truth, yeah, it's fetching the image and everything. So yeah, the functionality is working fine, so good for us. Now what we can do is we can safely create the explore page view. So let's just go here, do a command and create a Swift UI view, call it explore page view, press enter. There's our view. We can safely remove the preview pane. Now we can import Firebase also, because we would mostly need one API call here. So let's just add an observed object, and it should be of the type, it should be a variable obviously, view model, which would be of the type main view model. This is there. Then we can add that, let's just go inside our settings view, because here we have this environment mode written out, so we could use it from here. So we pass this in. Now we can open a Z stack, basically a Z stack which would have a background of black. Let's do ignore safe area here, and then we can add a scroll view here. Basically the scroll view would have a spacer which would have a frame with height of like 70 pixels. So this is there. Now we need to add a button, so that also we can copy from the settings view. Let's just search for the settings view, and there we would see the button is here. So you can just copy this thing out, go back, paste this here, and this is our back button. And we can actually work on this back button. We can have something like this. If it looks cool to you, you could do the same thing inside the other views as well. So that is what I was thinking about, not like this but this, and 4 times hash. Just go back to our explore page view. This is there. The foreground color should be white, the background color should be blue, and I mean even the yellow works, but yeah, this is fine. So the foreground color, background color is laid out. Now what we can do is that we can have an overlay with, I'm just thinking that do we need this or do we need a clip shape property, basically a clip shape with a rounded rectangle with a corner radius of like 20 pixels. So this is there, and we don't need the overlay anymore. So yeah, this is there. Now what we can do is we can add the background here instead of, and we can remove the corner radius, so it just has some sort of padding. Let's give it 6. It has a custom font, a foreground color, a background clip shape and padding, and obviously the frame width to keep it left aligned. This is fine. Let's open a vertical stack. Now here what we would do is, again we will create a lazy vertical grid, and then it would again ask us for grid items. So for this we can go to user profile view. Inside user profile view you would actually see we have those laid out, so I was thinking to use that only. So let's just search lazy v grid. This is there. So we can just copy this whole thing out. We can come back and we can paste this thing here. Now what I was thinking is that the spacing should be 10 pixels. This is fine. And it should be view model dot explore page users. The ID we could use user ID, and it should be user. And we don't have a cell view to show here actually. So cell view needed. Also there's this handy feature in Swift. So basically if you add a warning message, cell view needed, what happens is that now it would show up in one of the warnings. So see, so this seems fine. We can add one more and we can do control I. Control I does not, okay, command I, no. So this is a bit different from what I imagined. Yeah, okay. So this works fine. We have added a warning, so it will keep on telling us that you need to come here and fix this warning. You could also add error, but then that would not let us build the app, so that is not what we want. What we can do now is that we can actually create a general user profile view. So basically this is the user which is signed in. This is the signed in user view, the main user view who's using actively. This is the first person view, but we need a third person view, user profile view as well, the general user profile view. So that is what we are going to make, and then we would have to make a cell as well. So let's just go inside our views. We'll do command N, we do Swift UI view, we call it general user profile view. This is there. Okay, so we have the view ready. Now what we would do is that we can import Firebase again here if it's needed. I'm supposing that it won't be needed here, but let's just see, because this would just take in a user as a parameter. Observed var view model is needed. We take in a main view model. This is fine. Then we can have a state property, state private var, and this would be not a state private var but actually a var, and this would actually be database user, and this database user would be database user. This is there. Now we also need to add the settings view here, so let's just go to settings view, we select this thing out, we go back, we add it here. Now we go to our explore page view, then we make use of this button that we have just made. So a spacer alongside a button, that is what we need. So we can add it, oops, we can add this one here. We don't need a spacer actually, and we need some sort of a stack. So I think we would need a scroll view here as well. So this is there, we can cross this out, paste this here, and then we can add the spacer. I think it would be needed, and then we can give it a height of like 70 pixels. So that is done. We can fold the scroll view up, we can add a Z stack, we can open the Z stack, open it like this. So this is there, and now I'm thinking that do we need something else? So basically inside the Z stack, let's give it a color black. Let's make this ignore safe area, the Z stack. So this is done. We have the scroll view ready, which gives us the back option. So that is fine with us. Now what we can do is that we can work out with the profile image and everything. So basically for some other user, suppose you're not this user, so you would see this, you won't see these two buttons because we don't want to know whom they follow or anything. I mean, you can for Instagram, they do, for other apps they do it, Twitter also, but then doesn't really make sense to do it here. So I would be actually we can see their post, that is one thing, or maybe you can have these buttons as well. So let me just think about it. You obviously need to see their profile image and everything. So yeah, this is their, okay, so you can have this function where you click on the button and you can unfollow them through that. So that is one thing we could do. So how about we quickly come here, we add an edge stack here. Basically this edge stack would be utilizing the user profile views at stack, where we have profile photo. This is there. So you can just fold this thing out, copy this whole thing, come back here, and we can paste this here. Now it would give us some errors, so let's just see to it. I don't think so it's giving us some errors, so that is fine with me. We could use the database user here. This is there. We can add the database user dot username and database user dot user id. So this is fine, and let's just go through it. Profile image, all that loading functionality remains the same, so we can close the edge stack. This is laid out perfectly, so yeah, this works fine. What else do we need to do? We don't need to show them the user id, just the username, and we can remove the vertical stack then, because it's not really needed. And yeah, this is there. We can add a spacer here to push the username to the stack. So yeah, this is one thing, although I feel like it won't really stay apart from the profile logo. Let's just see like how does it look. So we could do that. Let's create another button here. Basically this button would be having the unfollow logic, and the label needs to be like this. So for the label we can create a curvy rectangle. Again, we go back to our user profile view and we just search for a curvy rectangle. We find it here, we come back here, and we paste it here. And basically this button should start with saying follow, but then later on we would actually change it, because we want to have give this some sort of a following logic. So according to that, the text would also change. So this is what it's here for now, and we can give it some frame basically, and frame would have a max width of, let's say, infinity. So infinity is there. Then we have some alignment, and alignment would be leading, so that is there. What else do we need to do? So we can give this whole thing some padding as well, I believe. If we look at this thing, we have an edge stack. We can close this edge stack. We have a button. We have another button inside the scroll view. So let's just look into it. We have a scroll view. We started with an edge stack. What we can do is that we can create a V stack here basically, and this vertical stack would have something like this. The frame is here. We can give it some sort of a padding here, because why I did this is that usually what happens is you would need to add maximum of 10 sub elements inside a group or a vertical stack or a scroll view. So I'm just trying to limit that thing here. And we can have curvy rectangles, and basically these rectangles would show the post. So again, we can go to the user profile view. We can search your post. If we search your post, we find the curvy rectangle. We go back and we paste it here, and we would not say your post but say just post. So this is there, and then we can go back inside user profile view and we can copy this scroll view out. So this is there, and I believe that you don't even need to add a scroll view here, rather a vertical stack should work. So let's just see if it works or not. And what we need to do is that we need to search for the post. Now I'm thinking that should I use the same post array only, or should I use the other user post? That would make much more sense. But then let's just keep post for now, because we are trying to make an API call, so hopefully it changes whenever we are switching back and forth from our profile to someone else's profile. So this seems fine. We can remove the navigation button from here. So navigation bar button, I'm sorry about that, should be hidden. Then we can add an on appear property. Inside the closure we will call view model dot fetch user data, and user data would be database user dot user id. This is there. Then we can have view model dot fetch user post, and it would be database user dot user again user id. So yeah, this is there, and I think it's an optional value, so let's just give it an empty string if it's optional, I mean if it's null. So yeah, this is there. Now what we can do is inside subviews we can create a profile view cell. So let's command n, we click on SwiftUI view, let's call it profile view cell. So yeah, this is there. We can remove the preview. Now we can work on adding an observed object, and this observed object would be a view model, which would be of the type main view model. So this is there. Now it takes in a database user as well. Database user, we would have of the type database user. What else do we need? I don't think so we really need anything else. So we can just go back to our view and use the same design language. So let's just have the curvy rectangle. We go front, we have the curvy rectangle, and inside the curvy rectangle we can do something different. How about we go to user profile view, we go to the explore curvy rectangle. Basically it had a gradient fill, so I was thinking how about we use this thing. So we can just copy this out, come back here and paste this here basically. So the curvy rectangle is set. Now you can do is that inside overlay, instead of this text, we can have a vertical stack. The vertical stack is there. Let's cross this out, paste it here. Now inside a vertical stack we can check if let profile image URL equals URL from string, and this string would be database user dot profile photo, and if it's null we can pass in an empty string. We could use an async image. Async image will take in a URL which would be profile image URL. This is fine. Now we can open this up, we can type in image in. Now we could use this image, so basically this image, this would be resizable. We don't need this image. This would be resizable. It would have an aspect ratio of fill. This is there. Now we can have a frame, basically a frame with a width 90 and a height as well 90. So this is there. Now we can have a clip shape, and clip shape would be a circle. That seems fine to me, so that is what we are going for here. Inside the placeholder we would add a progress view with parenthesis. Then we would give the progress view a frame with a width of 90 and a height of 90. And what we can do is we can add a clip shape. So the clip shape would again be circle, and at last you can add the background, and background will include color and would be of the type UI color dot game green. So trying to keep the design consistent, or we could have neon yellow as well. Anything works fine, honestly. This is there. So if the if statement is not working, we could have an else statement, and inside the else statement we can have image system name. It's the same that we did with the user profile view, person dot circle dot fill. This is there. Now we can have a font dot custom fonts dot bold, and the size matters here, so we could do 40. And then we can add a foreground color, and it would be black basically. So this is there. Now for the text we could add some hashtags and show their user name basically. So database user dot username, we can give it an empty string as well. So this seems fine to me. Yeah, so it would show an empty string here. We could have size 18 or 17, anything works fine. Foreground color needs to be black, and the padding should be there, or I should just remove it for now. So this is the vertical overlay there. What we can do here is now we can add some padding basically. So this is there for the overlay. I've added some padding to the whole curvy rectangle. Now that we have done this much, how about we go inside our explore page view, and here we would need to make few changes now. So what all do we need to do here? Basically, from what I remember, we would actually need to show those profile view cell, and not just that. Let's just remove these things. We would have a navigation link, and the navigation link a label. So inside the label we would have the profile view cell. The profile view cell, it's taking in a database user which we can pass, and we don't need the view model. Or do we need a view model? We need to pass in the view model, so this is there. I don't think so that profile view cell needs an API call. Let's just go inside and see, is view model being used anywhere here? It says two matches, so no. So you can just safely remove the profile view model. We don't really need it, so you can remove this from here. This is there, and the navigation link would actually direct users to general user profile view. This would have a view model, and this would have a database user as well. So there we go. Not this, but we would have the user passed in. So yeah, this is there. Do we need to do something else? So we have a vertical stack. What we can do is that we can add some padding to the top, and we can cross this out. We can add navigation bar button hidden to true, and we have ignore safe area here. So this is fine. Now we can add an on appear, and now what we do is that we create a task closure, and inside the task closure we write await view model dot fetch all fetch database users, and basically close it with parentheses. So basically it would make the API call. So now this much is done. So we need to make one last change inside the user profile view, because we just have created the view, the explore page, but this is not being used anywhere. So let's just go to the explore thing. We already have a navigation link here, so we can add the explore page here. Explore page would need a view model, so let's just pass in a view model, and presentation mode need not to be passed, so this is there. And I think this much is done. Do we need to do something else? Now I'm just thinking. So we do have this thing laid out, so this would work fine. Now let's just try running the app and see that if the functionality is working or not. So ideally we should see other users. So let's just quickly check if there are any other users. No, they are not. So what we can do is that we can sign out and create one user really quickly, and we can use that user's profile to check if things are working fine or not. So this much is working. We go to settings, we do sign out. Now we need to sign up, so we could use Kurapika here, and we can copy this out at the rate gmail.com. We can paste the Kurapika thing here. We can write password. So basically password is password. This is Kurapika username, and at the rate gmail.com. Sign up. So there you go. In the settings we will do select a profile photo. For the profile photo, let's just select, okay, so Kurapika is not actually here, so this is bad for us. I don't really want to mess up the whole hierarchy. I'm sorry about that. Let's just sign out quickly. I mean, let's change the name, and we can create gone at the rate gmail.com. We can name the person Gone. We can sign up. Gone is here. Now we go inside the settings. We'll go select profile picture. Now we'll select Gone's photo. We can do update profile image, and hopefully you'll see something in the logs. So I've added a filter, so that is bad. Profile image succeeded. Let's go back and it should just load up. Now inside the new post view, we will select some hero images and everything. So this should be there. We should name this sushi place. We could have nothing in the playlist URL. Budget would be like $100. Ratings would be like 2 We could select a cafe image. The cafe image, it can have this. We can have cafe caption, nice wall or something. Stay caption, for the stays let's select these mountains and let's call it Greed Island. Now what we can do is, in the must carry things, we can do cards, fishing rod, and we can do add post. And now let's just check if it makes the post or not. So hopefully it doesn't show with any error, so the post is being made. I'm not quite sure if we were to get any post successful message. We should have added that, but let's just go back and see for ourselves that if it's working or not. So this is there, and we can just check here if something's being posted from the ID. So let's just quickly see to it that if anything got posted or not. So there's the user, there is gone, and gone does have some post, so good for us. Let's just check if it's coming or not. We can go back and we have the post of gone. What we can do is we can go to explore now. It fetches the other people, it fetches for Kurapika, Krolo and gone. What we can do now is that we can go inside the profile view cell, and basically I remember that we needed to change this thing. What is happening is that in the user profile view we had this profile photo thing, and the placeholder should be like this. So we can just go back and placeholder should be like this, and we can again change it to neon yellow, so that way it won't appear as square. We can select Crollo and we can see Crollo's image and everything, and you see we needed actually a spacer here, and this doesn't look really good. So what we can do is that we can see his post and everything, so that is cool. This thing is working, so that's cool. Let's just quickly go to general user profile view, and we must be having a follow thing. So basically there's a follow with a foreground style of white, so this needs to be there, and also a spacer needs to be here. So let's just do that. Let's click on run and see what is happening. So hopefully in the app we would see other users now, and okay, so now you could see Con with his post and everything. We will go to explore page, we see rounded loading views, we go to Crollo, we see a follow button, we see a back button, and the back button needs a bit of uh, corner radius of 12 pixels. That works fine. The corner radius here is like this. The corner radius in the explore page needs some corner radius of 12. And how about settings view? Did we change something? Okay, this looks something like this, which is not very cool, right? I mean, let's just go to settings view and see that what did we do in the back button. So overlays there, we don't really need the overlay, so we can add the corner radius to, let's say, 20. Let's just do that for the other ones as well. So we go back, add the corner radius to be 20, and let's just go back again and add the corner radius to be 20. Let's run the app again and see for ourselves if it has made some change. So yeah, we have actually created different users now, and it fetches Gon's own post here, which is sushi place. This is really cool, but what else? So yeah, sushi place is being fetched. We can see the other images. Let's just wait for it to load as well. So nice wall and everything. And there should be the best steak, Greed Island, and we have cards, fishing road, must items. We go to explore, we go to Crollo, and we see Crollo's post. So the posts are being updated as per the user only. So this is good for us. And what we can do now is that we can go back, and now if we go back again, we only see Gon's post. So it is having a bit of a lag in like updating the user from cache, so that we can handle in later on when we are done finishing the UI and everything. So this looks fine for now. What I was thinking is that we can give our stack a bit more padding, so they are all more into the view, and this doesn't look so off being so left out here. So this is one thing that we can do. And rather than that, now we can work on the following follower functionality. And after we are done with following follower functionality, we can just make some tweaks inside the settings view because it looks really ugly now right now. And obviously we'll work with the home feed then. So home feed also needs a view of its own. So yeah, we're doing great, and I hope to see you in the next video. And again, if you have any doubts, please leave them in the comments down below. I would be very happy to help. Thank you.